Today should be a little bit bigger thanks to President Trump's sweeping tax reform cuts. Here now to break down the payday you'll see on your paycheck is CPA and business analyst Dan Geltrude. Thanks for joining us this morning, Dan.
Thank you.
So a lot of people waking up this morning looking at their statement, feeling a little happy probably. But what do we need to know? Is there anything we need to do aside from checking it?
Yeah, well, the first thing that you need to do is to check your paycheck to make sure what you anticipate that paycheck to be. For example, if you believe that you're going to be paying less taxes as a result of the new tax law and your check isn't reflecting that, you got to raise that question to your employer.
Okay, I was going to say, who do you ask?
You ask your employer. You go to the Human Resource Department or Payroll Department and you say, hey, I don't think this is right.
Okay. Some people are going to be seeing their taxes increase a little bit. Majority of the country getting tax cuts, of course, but certain people in certain high tax states, New Jersey, New York, some of them. Is there anything they need to be aware of?
Yeah, what you need to be aware of there is if you don't have the proper withholding and your taxes are going to be going up, you could be in a situation where you could have underpayment penalties for not withholding enough taxes in your paychecks. And by the way, that's the employee's responsibility, not the employer.
Okay, so make sure you check that and double check it. Now, we do have some viewer questions for you if you don't mind, so we'll get to some of them right now. Jeffrey on Twitter asks, what if an employer didn't plug the new withholding tables in time for the February 1st paychecks?
Again, that's one of the cases where you need to go to the payroll department and say, how come this wasn't done? And there's always the ability to catch up in your future paychecks as far as getting the proper withholding for each pay period.
Right, but I'd imagine it's just going to be easier if you just make sure it's done and get it all handled to
Absolutely.
Start. Carol on Facebook has a question for you as well. She says, will federal withholding on Social Security be affected by this?
No, Social Security is unaffected. There were no changes in the new tax law related to Social Security, so everything will stay exactly the same on that front.
Good to know. Raymond on Facebook asks, how permanent are these cuts in withholding? Will they be more, less, or the same on my paycheck in 2019?
Assuming that your pay is consistent, then yes, it will also be consistent as far as what the taxes are for next year. So you could say it's permanent into next year. Yes.
Now, a lot of people, we had someone write in earlier who said my paycheck was $101 more this week than it has been, which is great. Now, if people don't necessarily need that money to pay their bills, what should they be doing with this? Should they be putting this away? Is it a good time to do that?
Well, it is a good time to save if that's what you are so inclined to do. But what I tell people is look to see where your debts are and try to get rid of those interest payments, particularly with credit cards. It's also not bad to prepay your mortgage as well.
Okay, good call. Thank you very much. I appreciate you being here, Dan. Good advice. Todd?
Great advice, guys.